My name's Elton. I had just gotten back from the store, carrying all the things she had asked for earlier. Fresh strawberries, organic almond butter, the vanilla-scented candles she always said she didn't need, but somehow always ended up buying. As I pulled into the driveway, I felt a warm calm inside me, a quiet certainty. Things had been tough for us lately. Sure, there were long silences, distracted smiles, and her phone always face down. But I kept telling myself it was just life, you know? Stress, work, just one of those quiet storms couples weather together. But when I walked in, the apartment felt empty. Not in a way that was completely vacant, but in a way that made the air feel wrong. I called her name once. No reply. I saw her purse was gone. And her shoes, the ones she wore when she wanted to look effortlessly pretty. My first thought wasn't panic. It was hope. Maybe she had gone to meet a friend. Maybe she was trying to find herself again, and in doing so, find us again. I smiled at that thought. Then I noticed the message on the counter. It wasn't a letter. No drama. Just a folded napkin from the kitchen drawer with a few words written in blue ink. Out with Marin. Be back late. Don't wait up. That sentence felt like a stone in my chest. Marin, her coworker. The one she always brought up when she needed an excuse to disappear. I stood there in the kitchen, staring at that napkin, feeling like the world had lost some of its color. Not all of it, but enough to make everything feel off. I put the groceries down carefully. I called Marin, the woman who Daisy was supposedly out with. My heart was pounding in my chest as I dialed her number. When Marin finally picked up, I asked, "Is Daisy with you right now?" She answered very unsure, saying Daisy was with me. I could feel my frustration building. "Can you give the phone to her?" I asked. "I need to talk to her." There was another long pause before I heard Marin fumbling with her words. Well, she, just stepped out," Marin stammered. "I'm sure she'll be back soon." I wasn't buying it. My patience was running out. "Where are you two?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. "I'm coming over there right now." But then Marin hesitated again. She sounded completely disoriented, like she was making things up on the spot. We're, at this cafe, you know, the one by the park. I think it's called, she trailed off, as if she couldn't even remember the name of the place. It didn't take much to put the pieces together. I could hear the nervousness in her voice, and the way she was stalling made it clear that she was trying to cover for Daisy. I realized, with growing certainty, that something wasn't right. Marin was lying, and she was doing her best to protect her friend. My hands were steady, but inside, I was shrinking. Slowly, quietly, I walked through the apartment, the weight of the conversation with Marin hanging heavy in the air. As I passed the kitchen, I noticed something unusual. Daisy's laptop was open on the table. I had never been one to pry into her things, never felt the need to check her personal stuff. But in that moment, something shifted inside me. The lie, the unanswered questions, the missing pieces of the puzzle. I had to know the truth, even if it hurt. I had no idea where Daisy was, and it was clear she had lied to me. I couldn't shake the feeling that I needed to dig deeper, to uncover what was really going on, no matter the cost. My chest tightened as I walked toward the desk. The screen flickered, waiting for me to make a decision. I hesitated. It felt wrong, a betrayal of trust, but there was no going back. I clicked the mouse and the laptop opened to her desktop. Her inbox. I clicked on it, and there they were, the messages. Not to Marin. To Thomas, the one from the bar. There they were. Do you ever feel your chest go completely numb? Like your ribs are trying to hold your heart still so it won't fall apart? Can't wait to see you tonight. Same spot. Don't forget the drink I like. Wearing the dress you love, face blowing Akista. That's when I sat down on the floor. Not in shock. Not in rage. Just quiet understanding. It was like I was hearing a conversation that had been going on behind glass for months, and now the glass was gone. I didn't cry. I didn't even blink. I just sat there and let the truth fill the room. I grabbed my keys. And I left. I didn't drive fast. I wasn't even sure where I was going at first. The traffic lights blinked in patterns I noticed for the first time. Storefronts lit up with fake warmth. Couples walked by, laughing, completely unaware. I wasn't going to confront her. I wasn't there to cause a scene or shout her name over the noise of clinking glasses and cheap music. I wasn't going to beg or ask why. There was no racing heart, no anger, no trembling hands. Just stillness. Like when you finally understand the ending of a book you didn't realize you were reading wrong. I stopped at a corner later in the night. It was the kind of place where nobody asked questions, where everything smelled like spilled beer and old stories. I stayed in the car for a while, watching people come and go. One of them was Daisy, wearing a navy blue dress, walking as if nothing was weighing her down. She wasn't with Marin. She was with him. A tall guy with that easy confidence I never had. He leaned in close to her and said something that made her laugh, the one I used to wait for. She touched his arm the way she used to touch mine when she didn't want to let go. It didn't break me. It just confirmed what I already knew. I didn't start the engine right away. I just sat there and listened to the city. I thought about all the things I wanted to say to her. Not accusations, just truths. Like how I noticed she stopped reaching for my hand in public 3 months ago. How she started humming less in the kitchen. How she began complimenting strangers more than me. These small, almost invisible signs I kept brushing off because I believed in her more than in patterns. I didn't blame her. I didn't even hate her. But I finally saw her. And it wasn't the person I thought I was going to grow old with. I drove home slower than before. Every red light felt like a moment to reflect. I passed the building where we first kissed, the bakery where we'd get muffins on Sundays, the street where she once told me, "I feel safe with you." I used to hold on to those memories like they were everything. Now, they felt like borrowed time. I arrived at the house and walked into the apartment. The space felt cold, almost empty. The first thing I did was take off my wedding ring. I had barely realized I'd been wearing it still, a symbol of something that no longer existed. The cold metal felt strange against my skin, like a reminder of everything I was trying to forget. I placed it in the drawer of the nightstand next to the bed. It was Daisy's nightstand. The place where she had kept all her little treasures, like her favorite books and that small photo of us from our honeymoon. But now, as I slid the ring into the drawer, the weight of the moment hit me hard. Seeing her with another man, it was all I could think about. I never imagined it would come to this, that I'd be here, in this apartment, all alone, holding on to a ring that meant nothing anymore. It felt like I was closing a chapter of my life that I wasn't sure I was ready to let go of, but I knew deep down I had no choice. As I closed the drawer, I took one last look at the ring. It wasn't just a piece of jewelry to me, it was a symbol of the vows we made, the life we planned to share. But now it seemed like nothing more than a lie. I wasn't going to wear it, not anymore. Not after what I had seen, what she had done. With a heavy sigh, I turned away from the drawer, the weight of the situation sinking deeper into me. The apartment suddenly felt even emptier than before. I wrote a note for Daisy, telling her that I was leaving my wedding ring for her. I told her I didn't see the point in wearing it anymore, and that she should take it. "It's in your dresser," I wrote. I poured myself a glass of water. No alcohol. I wanted to feel every bit of the decision I had just made. I stood by the window and looked out at the night. The next morning, I wouldn't wake up as a husband anymore. But I wouldn't be someone's fool, either. And for the first time in a long time, that felt like freedom. I didn't pack a single bag, because I didn't know what belonged to me anymore. When trust breaks in a place where two people live, the walls start feeling temporary, even if the lease has both names on it. So I left everything exactly where it was. Toothbrush. Shoes. My college sweatshirt she always stole on cold mornings. Even the half-empty bottle of cologne I wore the night I proposed. I looked at it before leaving and felt like I was looking at someone who no longer existed. The funny part? There was no shouting. No crying. No slamming doors. Just a strange kind of stillness, like the world took a breath before moving on without me. I drove for hours that night, not toward anyone or anything in particular. I ignored the urge to call someone. I didn't need advice. I didn't need comfort. What I needed was space. I ended up in a small town about half an hour away. It had a 24-hour diner and a motel that hadn't updated its carpets since the 80s. The room was nothing special. Beige walls. A faint smell of pine cleaner. A buzzing light in the bathroom that blinked just enough to annoy me, but not enough to fix. I dropped onto the bed without even taking off my jacket. I stared at the ceiling for what felt like a full hour. I wasn't sad. I wasn't numb. I wasn't anything. I was in between versions of myself. Still shaped like a man in love, but hollowed out by truths I couldn't unsee. I kept replaying the way she laughed with him. So easy. Like she had done it 100 times. When the sun finally started to break through the curtains, I got up and took the longest shower of my life. Not forgiveness. Not understanding. Just steam, water, and silence. I ordered black coffee and dry toast from the diner across the street. The waitress gave me extra napkins without saying a word. That felt like more care than I'd had in weeks. And there, in that cracked vinyl booth, I finally picked up my phone. Dozens of messages. All from her. Where are you? I found the ring. Can we talk? Call me. Please, I deserve that much. That last one lingered. Deserve? The word tasted bitter. Like she believed pain was something you earned. Like she thought she had the right to explain a betrayal like it was a small mistake. I didn't answer her calls. Not the first 3. Not the 7th. I wasn't avoiding a fight. I was done giving someone a platform who had already said everything with their actions. If I let her speak, I knew I'd start shrinking again. I knew I'd begin rationalizing the wound just to feel close to her one more time. No, not this time. Not when I had finally understood the difference between fighting for someone and bleeding for someone who handed you the knife. So I sat there, in a booth in a town, eating food I didn't finish, staring out a foggy window into a morning that wasn't ours anymore. The past was behind me, but the hardest part hadn't come yet. My phone rang, and it was my brother on the other end. He told me that Daisy had called him. She wanted him to pass along a message. She wanted to meet with me and talk. Sometimes, the fear comes later, when they realize you're not chasing after them. But when she reached out to Norman, my older brother, the one who had known her almost as long as I had, I understood something. She wasn't trying to explain. She was trying to rewrite the story. I told him I had no intention of meeting with that liar. Then my brother suggested that he would come over to my place, and we could talk things through. He met me outside the motel that afternoon. Then his voice. She's worried. And confused. Confused. I hate that word now. It makes it sound like cheating is just a misunderstanding. We walked to the bench behind the diner. He had 2 coffees with him. She says it wasn't serious, Norman began, that it happened a few times. I'm not saying she's right. I'm just saying she's not pretending it didn't happen. I didn't disappear, I replied calmly. I left. That's not the same. He nodded. But I saw it in his eyes, that slight tilt of sympathy, that uncomfortable space between trying to support me and trying not to fully condemn her. People get strange when a relationship ends quietly. No yelling. No public shaming. Just facts. And the fact was, she wanted me to play a role in a drama she was now directing. I think you should talk to her, he added. No, I said. I think I already have. That was when he understood I wasn't coming back. Later that evening, I got a text. Not from her. From Marin. Elton. I thought you deserved to know. I wasn't with her that night. I haven't seen her in 2 months. She's not who I thought she was. I'm sorry. That message didn't break me. It confirmed everything I already knew. And still, I didn't respond. Not to Marin. Not to Daisy. Not to anyone. I was done being part of a story where I was the last to know. That night, I didn't stare out of a window, clutch a photo, or ask the stars for answers. I didn't replay our memories, doubt my decision, or write a letter I'd never send. I did something completely ordinary. I went to a laundromat, washed my hoodie, folded my clothes, bought a grape soda from the vending machine, and for the first time in weeks, I didn't feel owned by what she did. I wasn't trying to heal. I wasn't trying to prove I had moved on. I was simply living again, and it felt like a quiet kind of revolution. There's a broken chair in my apartment, left over from a failed attempt to fix things during our first year together. One of the legs is a little off balance. Not enough to collapse, but just enough to make you doubt it. I kept meaning to fix it. She kept saying she'd just throw it out. We never agreed on it. And somehow, after everything that's happened, it's still here. That's what I sat in when I got back home. Yes, I went back. Not to return to her. She wasn't there. It was clear that she had only briefly come home, grabbed a few of her things along with my wedding ring, and then left again, disappearing somewhere. I just sat in that stupid wobbly chair and stared at the folded CVS receipt still pinned to our fridge, the one from the night she told me she loved me for the first time. We'd run in to buy gum. She kissed me in the parking lot, because she said the fluorescent light made my eyes look like storm clouds. We both laughed when the receipt came out about 3 feet long for 1 pack of gum. I kept it. She laughed harder, and then said it. I love you, you sentimental idiot. That receipt is still there, slightly yellowed, corners curling. I didn't cry when I saw it. I didn't feel nostalgic. What I felt was curious. Not about her. About me. Who I was back then. Why I believed it all. Not because she said it so convincingly, but because I wanted it to be true so badly that I missed everything else. She texted me again that night. Not asking to talk. Just, I think you're being dramatic. But I get it. I need space too. That was the most honest thing she'd said in weeks. She needed space. The kind you create by walking away before the other person even notices you're not there anymore. The kind where you go out for air and just never come back the same. I didn't reply, not because I was angry, because silence, for once, didn't feel like giving up. It felt like the truth. Later that evening, I went into our shared Amazon account and removed my name, canceled the shared calendar, unsubscribed from the streaming service we used to binge watch together, deleted the grocery list we built together week after week, item by item, argument by argument. I left the apartment cleaner than it had been in months. Not to impress her, but because I needed to know I could bring order back without asking anyone else to help me. I didn't burn anything. I didn't throw away her stuff. I didn't need to punish her. That would have taken energy I just didn't want to spend. It was over, and I was tired of pretending like there was something else left to do. I fell asleep on the couch. When I woke up, it was still dark. The air smelled like lavender and leftover chicken from a meal I didn't finish. I stood in the hallway for a long time, looking at the closed door to our bedroom. I didn't open it. Some rooms are better left closed, at least until you know what you're looking for inside them. The first thing I noticed was how quickly the milk expired. When two people live together, grocery items tend to disappear in predictable ways. Milk runs out every 4 days. Bananas go brown on schedule. The peanut butter jar gets scraped with more force near the bottom. But in the last 2 weeks, I started throwing things out more than I used to. I wasn't eating less. I just didn't realize how much she had consumed until she wasn't here. That's how it began. Not with tears, but with taking stock. The coffee filters lasted longer. No hair in the drain. The laundry slowed to a third of what it used to be. The bathroom mirror stayed clean. I didn't find foundation marks on my towels. The throw blanket on the couch never moved. I stopped waking up in the middle of the night to turn off lights. She always forgot to switch off. The apartment changed faster than I did. I didn't tell anyone that we had split. Not really. I just stopped bringing her up in conversation. My coworkers noticed I stopped smiling when I looked at my phone. My mom asked if we were still doing Thanksgiving together this year. I told her we'd talk about it later. There was nothing dramatic. No big argument. No screaming. No ultimatums. Just silence. Long, factual, unquestioning silence. I decided to distract myself for a bit and watched a movie, hoping it would help clear my mind. But as I was idly browsing through Daisy's laptop, something unexpected caught my eye. There, tucked away in one of the folders, was an audio recording. It seemed out of place, but curiosity got the better of me, and I clicked on it. What I heard stopped me in my tracks. It was Daisy's voice, raw and unfiltered, speaking to her friend. The words she said cut through the silence of the room like a knife. She confessed that she had been seeing a married man. The confession wasn't some fleeting moment of guilt, but a full, honest breakdown of her emotions. She was tangled in a mess of confusion, torn between her relationship with me and this affair. "I'm so messed up," she said. "I don't know what to do. I feel like I'm going to lose him if I don't keep this up, but I also can't keep doing this to myself. I never thought I'd be that person, but here I am. I'm scared I'm going to lose Elton, but at the same time, I can't stop. I can't stop this connection. It's like I can't help myself." She paused, and the silence on the other end of the line was deafening. Then she continued, quieter now, almost as if she was talking to herself. "But I know deep down that this can't go on. It can't. How long can I keep pretending? I can't keep juggling this forever. I know that, but I don't know how to stop." It felt like a punch to the gut, hearing her so vulnerable, so conflicted, yet so resigned to the situation. I didn't know what hurt more, her infidelity or the realization that she had been living with this kind of guilt for God knows how long. I sat there in stunned silence. The recording ended, but the weight of what I had just heard lingered in the room, pressing down on me. That recording was like the final piece of a puzzle I had been too afraid to put together. She was tangled in her own lies. And worse, she had chosen to keep those lies going, even as I remained in the dark, trying to salvage something that was never really there. It wasn't just the fact that she had been seeing someone else. It was the way she had been torn between two worlds. Between me, the man she had promised to love, and him, the man who could never fully be hers. It was clear now that she had been trying to convince herself that she could have both, that somehow, the truth would remain hidden long enough to keep everything intact. But the recording revealed something more profound than just infidelity. I could never look at her the same way again. The recording confirmed it. There was no going back. There could be no future for us. The next day, I ran into her cousin at the bank. I hadn't planned on seeing anyone I knew, least of all someone connected to Daisy, but life has a way of throwing these unexpected moments in your path. Her cousin, Josh, was standing in line ahead of me, flipping through his phone as usual. He didn't notice me at first, so I took a few seconds to compose myself, still reeling from the night before. My heart was heavy with everything I had learned, but I forced myself to appear calm, like I had everything under control. When he turned around and saw me, his face lit up with a smile. "Elton, hey man, how's it going?" His tone was casual, but there was something almost too cheerful about it, like he was trying to avoid acknowledging the elephant in the room. I returned the smile, though it didn't quite reach my eyes. "Hey Josh." "Yeah, I'm all right. How about you?" I asked, trying to keep things light. He shrugged. "Same old, you know how it is." "How's Daisy?" "Haven't heard from her in a while." At that, my stomach tightened. I could tell he was trying to sound casual, but his words felt like a loaded question. Daisy had probably told him something, some version of the truth, or maybe just enough to keep him from asking too many questions. But I wasn't in the mood to dance around it. "She's busy," I said flatly. It wasn't a lie exactly. She was busy with her life, just not with me. Josh's brow furrowed slightly, as if he was expecting more. He looked at me for a long moment, trying to read me, probably wondering why I wasn't elaborating. I could see the concern in his eyes, but there was also something else there, like a guarded curiosity. Maybe he knew more than he was letting on. "I've been meaning to check in with her," he said, as the line moved forward. He glanced down at his phone again, as if the moment had passed, but I could tell he was still thinking about it. "She's going through a lot, man. You know how she gets. She's probably just figuring things out." Figuring things out. That's what everyone said, didn't they? Like somehow, the lies and the betrayal could all be swept under the rug with a few comforting words. But I wasn't buying it anymore. I continued, "Well, take care, Josh." He nodded, sensing the tension in my voice. "Take care, man. Hope you guys work things out." The words felt hollow. I nodded, but my mind was already 1,000 miles away. As he turned and walked toward the exit, I couldn't shake the feeling that everyone around me was still living in a world where everything could be fixed with time. But I knew better now. There was no fixing this. There was no going back. She texted me 3 days ago. Not a long message. No request for closure. No fake apology. Just one simple question. "Did you cancel the florist?" That was it. No, "How are you?" No, "I'm sorry." No recognition of the space between us that had grown so wide we didn't even know how to refer to each other anymore. I didn't reply. I let the florist call her instead. Later that night, I stood in our kitchen. No, my kitchen now, and realized something strange. The place hadn't just changed. It had stopped reflecting who we were. It was neutral now, like a stage after the play ends. Like the last page of a story stopped in mid-sentence. The mug with the chipped handle? Still there. Her book with the bookmark stuck on page 142? Still there. The stack of magazines addressed to both of us, Daisy and Elton, printed neatly? I threw them out. She used to write her name on things. Sticky notes. Receipts. I walked into the pharmacy 2 blocks away. The one she always said was cleaner than the chain stores. The woman at the register asked if we were still picking up prescriptions together. I said no. She didn't ask why. That's how most people react. They feel it, but don't say anything. Her name used to show up on my phone at least 10 times a day. Now it's buried somewhere in the call log, far below my dentist appointment and a call from the bank I forgot to answer. I haven't deleted her number. That would take intention. This isn't that. This is erosion. Our neighbor, the one across the hall with the terrier who always barked at her perfume, saw me taking out the trash. She smiled with a pause. She asked, "You okay?" I said yes. I wasn't lying. Not really. At the grocery store, Daisy's favorite salad dressing was on sale. I walked past it without stopping. Didn't even flinch. That surprised me more than anything. I passed the park where we once argued over who forgot the picnic blanket. It used to feel like a story worth retelling. Now it's just a patch of grass I ignore at red lights. I logged out of our shared cloud calendar. Daisy emailed me asking why. The subject line was, "I was going to handle that." That's all it said. No greeting. No context. Just a mild complaint. Like I'd moved a coffee mug from the wrong cabinet. I didn't answer. But the truth is, I need her apology. The things I know about her, the things I can't unsee, I don't think I'll ever be able to forgive. Daisy knows exactly what she's done, and that's the worst part. She knows, and yet she still asks me why. There's no point in answering her question, because no words will ever make sense of it. I don't need explanations anymore. I don't want to win an argument over a life that's already expired. Daisy often called me, and the longer it stays that way, the more I realize she expected me to keep the door open, even after she walked through it with someone else. Ignoring her was my silent revenge. After the betrayal, there was nothing left to give. No more time, no more energy, for someone who doesn't deserve it. There comes a point when you realize that some people aren't worth the effort. I gathered all the divorce papers and sent them to Daisy. We had nothing to divide, no kids, no house, no bank accounts. Maybe it's easier this way, so that nothing ties us together. It feels like a chance to start a new life from a clean slate.